All right, so we're back, continuing part two, discussing the world of K-pop. We finished off episode one discussing Everglow's music video for the song First. Kind of gave our thoughts on the visuals of it all. Real quickly, Dom, because we didn't really get enough time because we were talking so much about the visuals. What were your thoughts on the song itself from just hearing it?
I didn't 100% enjoy it. I didn't get. Usually, when I'm listening to music first time, doesn't matter what song from which artist, I want to see if I could, get a moment of not euphoria, kind of like a moment of euphoria, like holy cow, this part of this song just gave me the chills. It made me feel crazy, so cool.
Like when you know a song is an instant classic off first listen.
Yeah, kind of like that. How would you explain it? It's a song with replay value that I'm willing to listen to it no matter what. Because normally, to me, I'm more of a situational type of person. I like to listen to music that fits the situation I'm in, or if it's like a movie, I love to hear music that fits the situation that I'm watching. So, let's say you're not gonna play jazz music, right? In a police chase scene, or so in a Mad Max movie, for example. But you're gonna play rock and roll, cool music, just like they did in the the Mad Max movie, because it fits. So in K-pop, I didn't really get a situation in which I would play K-pop on my own.
So, like what you were saying in part one, like you were struggling to find out how exactly to listen to it, right?
Yes. But aside from that, the music itself, I enjoyed it. Would I listen to it again? Maybe on a constant basis compared to the other music I'm listening to? Maybe not. I'll be honest. Hot take. I wasn't 100% there per se in enjoying what I heard. 100%. I enjoyed a bit. There was some. I think at the end of the song, there was just only one part of the song at the end that sounded nice, and they just completely went off and went back to the same beat on the song. But aside from that, that was pretty much it from First. Rating it from out of 10. I don't know if I give it a high rating, I'm gonna seem like a sheep. If I give it a low rating, I'm gonna seem like a negative criticizing.
You have whatever opinion you want. Do not worry about what people will think. Because remember,
I'm gonna give it.
Music is subjective. Music will always be subjective.
True. I would give it. What would I give it? I'll give it. I want to give it a 7 or an 8, but I'm probably going to give it a 7 because it's a song I'm probably not going to come back to. I enjoyed a little bit of it, but would I come back? Probably not. I'm going to give it a 7.
I was expecting a number much lower than that.
I'll have to admit the visuals carried it. Like the smoke bit at the start, or was it like a minute, like at 28 seconds, 30 seconds, around
like there? In the first 20 seconds, that
looked good.
Them taking off the masks in the very beginning is what kind of got me interested from the start. Because I was like, that's a pretty cool visual to see them like wearing those masks and taking them off. I was like, oh, maybe we're taking like a futuristic vibe because of like the design of the mask. I was like, oh, maybe we're taking a futuristic approach to this music video. Let's see what it's about.
That intro is like part of the story, I think.
Interesting.
Anyways, moving on to our next song. We're going to go like to the other side of the spectrum, the K-pop spectrum. And we're going to talk about Twice. And I suggested 2 songs to them. It was Cheer Up, which is, I think, the first song that really blew up for them. Because at the beginning of their career, when they released Ooh Ah, it didn't really go that well. It was kind of like meh. But once Cheer Up came up, that's when they started blowing up. So I suggested that one, and their latest release, or their latest Korean release, I should say, Scientist. So let's get into that. Jack, I know you've heard it a few times, but what are your like thoughts on those two songs compared to what you usually listen to?
Whew, man. So, context. I am a big rock fan. I grew up on rock. I grew up on Linkin Park, 3 Days Grace, Green Day, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Paramore, Evanescence, System of a Down, as well as, all the bands from my dad's age, him playing like stuff like Tears for Fears, Duran Duran, Depeche Mode. That's kind of always been my genre, was just rock and then like the old school music. Because I personally don't know what to classify a lot of what my dad listened to back in those days. Other is, I think it was called New Wave. I wasn't really that big on pop, more specifically the sound, and I didn't start getting into like hip hop and rap music until like high school. And R&B also during that time. But when it comes to this and the sound, I really don't know what to how to really like describe like my experience of just hearing like Twice's sound, where it obviously sounds like pop music, but like I don't know, there's something like distinct to it to me. Like I don't know, like especially their latest album. I had it so highly ranked on my top 10 last year because like it was just kind of so interesting. Like a lot of the music was just really different from what I heard, even from just the pop genre itself, like off that album, Last Waltz was probably like one of the most like unique songs I've ever heard, because I was just like the different transitions from the styles in that song was pretty crazy. I mean, when we're comparing obviously the two ones we're talking about right now, Cheer Up and Scientist, I think Cheer Up obviously sounds like a more mainstream pop sound, but Scientist, I don't really, I can't say, despite it, I mean, you can definitely, like, for other people, they can probably hear these two songs and say, like, they sound the same in the sense of, like, they have that general pop sound, but Scientist doesn't have it as much as Cheer Up to me. I don't know why it is to me, but, like, they're really different, and they kind of, like how I mentioned in part one, it kind of, like, to me, despite not being, informed enough on like Twice in their history, there's like somehow audibly a clear divide in time and like in terms of like time period and eras, because Cheer Up, or at least that shows, like the music video came out in 2016 and Scientist came out last year. It's like, I don't know, there's no other way for me to explain it other than the fact that like I can somehow audibly hear a difference in time between these two musics. Like I can tell you which one sounds like it's from like an older era of K-pop and what sounds newer.
It's I do agree that Cheer Up, I'm gonna say this quickly because I want to hear what Dom has to say about these songs. The Cheer Up was, I would agree that it was more like the mainstream version of like K-pop, and the whole point of Twice, or like their goal, I should say, is from the time that they debuted to now, their whole like focus is to mature with their music. So as they get older, their music will get old with them. That's kind of like their point, and you can clearly tell. Like there's like a clear difference between the stuff that they started with and the stuff now. Like the stuff now is just so much better. Not saying like the older stuff is not good, because it's still good, but the new stuff is just so much better. The title track is better, the B-sides are better, the way they present the albums are better. Like everything is better, and it's kind of like I guess like how a group was able to mature with their music is kind of impressive to see, because like other artists, they kind of like stay the same, or like they stay within like their section, and then they just kind of like ride out their career. But like in K-pop, it's kind of like expected for like the groups to do different things, or else people will lose interest. Anyways, Dominic,
Yes.
what did you think of these two songs?
Okay, so Cheer Up specifically, considering this was a song from 2016, I feel like it still holds up today. In terms of the music itself, I enjoyed it. The visuals, on the other hand, I think it's a bit too much. I think we go from like what was it like a realistic setting, and then we go to a school setting immediately, and then afterwards we go into like a lollipops and like orangutans. I'm pretty sure I saw an orangutan.
Orangutan?
There was an orangutan in the backdrop in Cheer Up. I know, I'm not stupid. I saw the orangutan. It was next to a giraffe and a bear. I think below that, I think there was like a chipmunk, I think. Anyways. The whole industry, especially in terms of the visuals, I feel like they greatly express it a lot, just so it, as you mentioned, Gio, to keep their viewers on track. And because if they were to like stick to one scene or one sort of backdrop and keep it like that, the viewer will eventually might get bored. So they constantly change up the scene over with different clothing, different sets, just so the viewer can stay put. And I'm not sure if that's maybe just my view of the Western music video industry. Mind you, I don't ever really watch music videos, so I'm not one to say. I just listen to the music just to listen to the music. And listening to Cheer Up, and then we also and Scientists. Scientists I liked a bit more. It was, how would you say it? I still fall back into that same pit of just not knowing how I should enjoy, or like how I should listen to these sort of songs with like constant alleviation of feelings, making you hyped up and of the sorts. Maybe to you, Gio, since you're more into these sort of things, maybe you might find it. Me personally, it's how would you say it? Not discomforting. It's just I don't feel like I'm at the right place at the right time to hear and watch, because just like watching them, they're all happy, they're all dancing, they all seem like nothing bad is going on outside the world except for whatever is going on within the scenes. With the
that's kind of like the point. Well, not the point, but it's kind of like something that you get with it, because we've all been like in those like tough times where you kind of like need an escape from what you're going through. So like, I don't know, like having like a group that you could like consistently rely on to like make you feel better. I don't know, it's kind of like something.
It's like comfort
good.
music.
Yeah, it's like it's comforting because like it's like Cheer Up is a happy song.
Yes.
Like it's supposed to be happy. Like everything about it is happy. So I don't know. Like hearing you talk about it just makes me like very curious to know like the kind of music that you listen to, and
Right.
I don't know. I'm just like my interest has been piqued.
Okay,
because
so
of what you've been saying.
no, okay, no, wait, my bad. I'll admit I am a hypocrite, right? So, me saying I'm a hypocrite is saying that I also do enjoy music that's meant to cheer you up. But in regards to K-pop and the visuals, how would you say it? Specifically for K-pop, I'm not sure. I'm repeating the same words of like, how would you say it? I guess not understanding the initial message at first, and then having to listen to it one more time just to understand what I'm listening to, because I don't have the captions on at first, and then I turn on the captions afterwards. Because when it comes to not actually understanding the language, because do you understand it firsthand without watching the captions, Gio?
At this point, I understand a good bit of it. But mind you, I've been listening to this stuff for maybe over 4 years now. So you kind of just like pick up on words as you listen. Not that I like studied. It's kind of like if you're exposed to a language so much, you like eventually start picking up words. But I kind of like, so you're like, the thing that it's because you're like, this is like very brand new to you. So that's why you're kind of like struggling so much to like kind of define the purpose of it. But honestly, it's a very interesting take because compared to Jack, who's very open to music, he's like, oh, this is nice, and he's like, oh, I'll listen to more of it, and you're kind of like the other side is like, it's good, but how would I go about
Exploring more.
enjoying,
Yes.
exploring
Agreed,
it, like enjoying it? It's very interesting to hear.
I'll be honest. I am biased. I think before any of this, I'll be honest. I am absolutely biased in saying that regarding the fan base, regarding the culture that's in behind the scenes, behind what these groups go through, what like the fan bases do to other people. I've grown a bit of a dislike against K-pop because of the fan base itself and of the actions that have occurred. Mind you, I have not listened to any of the music, so this is a really bad bias, but this bias has grown on me ever since I've seen like BTS members like create like death threats against those trying to criticize, or even like any small sort of like little bits of criticism, or just like a comment about disliking, like let's say a BTS member's rhythm on a song or a vocal, and the constant death threats. That's my own bias.
Can I interject real quick? Because I actually have a really cool, or not really cool, but like there's a real interesting like perspective being made here, and I understand what Dom's getting at. But it's cool to see, like, I guess you could say a tale of two sides. There's two sides to a coin, whatever you want to say. Dom, when it comes to wrestling, there's a lot of people who are turned off from wrestling because of the online fan base. Because the online fan base is very heavily, like how you're saying, they're either like overly critical to the point where it's just so annoying, because it's like you'll say, oh, I really like this match, and everyone comes at you for liking a match, like as if it's some issue that you like the match that everyone else didn't like, or you like this segment that they didn't like, right? Or like they focus on like these little things, like they get into battles. Keep in mind, this is about TV, right? Like TV wrestling. They get into battles about what show's getting more ratings than the others, as if people care about ratings nowadays. They care. There's a group of, there's different sides in the online fandom that, like a cult, follow these different media presence. Like there's a guy called Jim Cornette, there's a guy called Dave Meltzer, who have their own fan bases who essentially live and die by their word. So Dave Meltzer's a guy who got big for rating matches, like, that was like a 4-star match, 5-star match, right? There's a portion of his fan base online that doesn't believe a match is good or bad until he gives it a rating. And on the other side, the guy Jim Cornette, his fan base live and die by his word. If he says something was bad, it's like a parakeet. They just hear what he says and repeat it out like that. So like I bring this up because it's real interesting, because when it comes to when I expose Dom to wrestling and show him these different things, he doesn't have that previous experience, like how he's talking about here with K-pop, where he's never had a bad experience with wrestling prior to me introducing it to him, versus where, if you want to call it that, it's like Gio here is having to fight like an uphill battle in the sense, because he already knows Dom's been exposed to a lot of like the negative side of K-pop, or like the bad side of it, you want to call, where it's like Dom's already seen what the worst of it is, and so it's already like an uphill battle trying to get past all that you've previously known.
Honestly, I don't hold it against him, because in my 4 years of like being in the K-pop world, I've seen a lot of questionable stuff that makes me kind of lose faith in humanity, I guess. But it's kind of, you shouldn't judge something without giving it a chance. Is kind of like what I would say. But you have given it a chance, and honestly, it's not like you're like completely against it. You're still like kind of open to it, and you're sharing like what you think of it. But honestly, the K-pop stands specifically on Twitter, or you don't want to mess with them, because they'll ruin your whole life in 30 seconds.
And
Anyways,
can I just mention something real
go
quickly
ahead.
before we move on from Twice? I just watched the entire Cheer Up music video again as we've been talking. I have at not one point seen an orangutan, so I really want to know, where is Dom coming from when he says he saw an orangutan in this music video?
Yeah. I got it right here.
Do you have like a timestamp? Because I watched the whole video and I don't know if I'm just blind, but not once did I see an orangutan.
1 second. I got it here.
I saw the giraffes and stuff, but those are like stuffed animals.
Yeah, and then
I was talking about stuffed
I see
animals.
it.
I see the
Yeah,
orangutan.
157 on
I
the
see
top left.
I just saw it right now while rewatching.
Yeah.
Okay. But another thing real quick I also want to mention is I like the transitions from, like, I know Dom brought it up, how like it is a bit random, but it is still kind of like cool in a sense to see it like transition from like, okay, they're dressed up like cheerleaders to then they're in this like Candyland type thing, and then it's a Western movie, and then it's like a spy movie. It's like crazy to just see those transitions. Like, logically, it doesn't really make sense watching the music video to see them like transition, because you're just like, well, what's the point of it? But at the same time, I'm just watching it and I'm just like, it's pretty cool to just see them randomly transition from these different scenes.
I think
But is there a reason?
like if you look at the lyrics, obviously you'll see why they're doing this. Because if I remember correctly, I think Cheer Up is about a girl who has a crush on a guy and wants to get his attention, and like the point that they're trying to illustrate by showing like all of these different settings and like different people, I guess, is just because like we've all been in that situation. Like your background doesn't matter. You're going to experience this at some point, I guess. And this kind of like to open the message to everyone, and it's not like inclusive to just like one specific person, I guess. It's like to show that everyone's the same and everyone goes through the same stuff, I guess. I don't know.
Interesting.
I could be wrong. But yeah, Twice is like very like, they're like that. They want to, like, their earlier stuff is obviously about like teen romance, and in their music videos they kind of like show like different, or in this case different girls from different backgrounds, all of them feeling the same way basically. And that's kind of the point. You kind of have to like look into the lyrics to kind of understand the music video a little bit better. But I guess that could be like a turn off for some people because it's actual work. And that kind of goes back to the whole language barrier. And like, what's the point of listening to this if you're not actually going to understand it? And I don't know.
Interesting.
It's just kind of like a drawback from listening to K-pop, I guess.
Interesting. What song are
Anyways,
we looking at next?
Dominic, pick our next song.
I think Shutdown was a little cheesy. By Class.
Classic.
Why? Classic. Oh.
Classic.
What's with the colon?
I don't know, it's just to make it more authentic.
Make them stand out. Everything about
So
it
like,
make them stand out.
ReZero type thing.
Yeah.
I guess.
The colon. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think ReZero. It was a little cheeky at the start because that like. Because I think
ReZero?
Korea. What? Yeah, because the ReZero's animes have like a colon, and then zero, or rebirth, or re.
Yeah, but we called the band ReZero.
No, Classy. Has a little bit of a cheeky intro with, I think that looks like a loot box, and I think Korea is like notorious with like their gacha games, and like, I think PUBG is a major fact. But anyways, this song, it felt weird because it was a zombie song. Like in the visuals, it was like an apocalypse, and there was zombies coming to get you. But the music in the background was somewhat different to what I was listening to. Like just constantly hearing "shut down," and then just seeing the hyperpop visuals of it. I don't know. I'm not sure what to make of it. I didn't really enjoy it. Visuals were a little much. At some point during said apocalypse in this story, they're going down some slides all of a sudden, like a bouncy castle type slide, and at the end there's just more zombies. And then, mind you, I'm not sure they're using like Unreal Engine for the visuals, but it doesn't look nice. It feels there's too much of a contrast of a zombie thing, and then I'm assuming these band groups are adults, right? They're just dressed up like high schoolers and stuff.
Or
they are actually high schoolers.
Some of them are, and then others are a little older. I think the youngest member is like 14.
14?
Yeah, let's not get into that because that's like a whole different side of K-pop.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just kind of move on from that point.
Okay,
but
all right.
main. Sorry. Jack, do you want to share your thoughts before I kind of explain?
I just want to kind of agree with Dom because I brought it up I think in episode 1, and so I'll bring it up here. I brought up how like with some of the music videos, you know, it wasn't like I guess you could say like the CGI of it like wasn't as noticeable. But I had to agree with Dom where like this one, I don't know if it was like on purpose or if, you know, like how we were talking about certain groups getting more of a higher budget than others, but like I don't know, there was more points in this video where you can tell things looked off or like not as clean, I guess you could say. Like I kind of agree with Dom's point. Like there was just kind of a lot of moments where you looked at it and you were just like, I don't know, it doesn't look right to me. But like
that's very interesting.
That could be the point of it, or it could just come down to the fact that maybe they didn't have as high of a budget. I think you mentioned they're like a new group, right? So maybe it would make sense that they don't have as high of a budget because they're new.
I think they came out in February, but that's a very interesting point because I specifically chose that video to kind of demonstrate the opposite, that you don't need a big budget to produce something that's incredible. And I don't know, I think I should go back and watch that video again because the first time I watched it, I was very impressed by the VFX, by the CGI, by the editing. Everything was like, I wouldn't expect this from a group coming from where they're coming from.
I get you.
Yeah. But speaking of CGI, or bad CGI, let's turn our attention over to Maison, which is Dreamcatcher's latest release. And let's hear your thoughts on that first. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. This one was something. Okay, so I understand the story. Basically, protect the world. We're messing up the world, and like they're living in a world in which everything was already ruined by like I'm assuming the industry and climate change. And it's funny. I think what was funny, at some point they have some sort of sign that says Northwest, and then I see San Bernardino and Los Angeles. So I'm thinking these guys or these girls are from Korea, but for some reason I see a highway sign saying Los Angeles. So I'm thinking, why would they particularly put Los Angeles here?
They took the Hollywood approach where the end of the world is happening, but everything takes place in the U.S. and forgets that there's an entire rest of the world. That they you know, have you've seen those tropes, right, Dom, where it's like that meme where it's like, oh, the U.S. is under attack, and it's like, oh, the U.S. that's under attack, and they edited the globe to only show the United States.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't think they wanted to show a Korea that's in shambles. They just wanted to show I don't know what this dystopian.
They were like, they were in a meeting and they were like, what place is most likely to become a dystopia? What's California looking like right now?
But yeah, it was interesting. I understand the story. I like the story. I understand that they're asking for help to try to deter this sort of feature from occurring, but I just don't understand why they chose the visuals. Because at some point, I think one of the girls goes inside using a wedding dress, just out of the blue, and now we're like in a cybernetic. I think what was it? It's like at the 1 minute 15 second, we're just in a cybernetic room, and then we're back to a wedding, and then they teleport, and now we're in a sort of like Roman, not a Colosseum, but like you see
Roman
like
architecture.
Roman architecture. Mind you, I'm not sure they did good lighting here at the 1 minute 40-minute mark, where it seems like they're all dabbing at some point. The shadows are clearly incorrect. The shadows are very bad. I'll be honest. Shadows are pointing, like going towards the viewer, but their shadows are pointing exactly downwards. So that's a huge error in it of itself. I'm surprised this video has 23 million views.
Yeah, 140.
23 million?
No, he's saying what timestamp?
139 exactly. 139, 140 around there. Well, I'm sure exactly 139.
I will say like the visuals like are like good looking. You know, like the backgrounds, like that Roman architecture place. Like the background itself looks cool, but like the setting itself looks pretty cool. But I don't know, like kind of like how Dom's saying, like there's certain parts where you're just looking at it and you're just like, don't think that's like the best, especially like compared to like the previous like music videos we saw.
Yeah.
Like in some cases, like it's like the whole video isn't bad, but there's just like bits and pieces of it that you can pick out where it's just like, I don't know, it's good in this part, but it's not good here. The CGI looks good here, but not here, you know?
Yeah.
I think, so just to clarify, Dominic.
Yes.
It's not like the whole like it's not a wedding dress, dude.
It looks like a wedding. Look at the end. It looks like a wedding dress. They're all wearing wedding dresses.
Just because it's white doesn't mean it's a wedding dress. Anyways,
It's probably a wedding dress.
There's like I don't know, like I guess it's up to interpretation. Not really, because it's kind of obvious. But for some reason, you interpret it as a wedding dress. They're clearly goddesses because they're like, I don't know. You kind of just like, that's kind of like the point. They're goddesses, and the dress is just.
And the goddesses are asking for help.
There's a whole story to it. Let's not get into it. There's a whole story to it, but we don't have time to talk about that. But it's not a wedding dress. That's my point. Anyways, the whole point of why I included Mason in the thing was to kind of show Dreamcatcher because they're a very underrated group, but also how bad that music video came out. Like, I went through it. I found so many mistakes.
The 2-minute 30 mark. 2-minute 30. I don't know. The CGI in that point just kind of looks really awkward.
It's the most replayed. It says, "Oh yeah, this part. Oh yeah, this was really bad as well." What was this?
Mm-hmm. So with the girl in front of the portal?
No, she's in the hands of like
of
a, I guess you could call it
what? You think this is bad? Oh,
that was horrible. She's just standing there with bad lighting. It's bad lighting.
Okay.
She stays lit while
the lighting. Okay, the lighting is bad. The lighting is one of the main issues of this video.
What's funny is
CGI
that her hair
is not bad
while she's in space. Her hair is moving while she's in space.
Okay, there's issues, but the CGI, the statue, and it turning dark is not badly made.
No, that one isn't badly made. That part isn't badly made. But like,
yes, that's the part I want to clarify. That part is sick.
Yeah, but like the still image of her just standing there in the palms of this being is like the bad part to me. The transition from it going white to black was pretty cool and like impressive effect, but like just like this still image of her just standing there, I don't know, it's awkward to me.
Okay, so basically the point of that was big budget doesn't always mean good end product. I think we have one more to talk about, Maniac by Stray Kids. Who wants to go first on that one?
I guess I'll start off because I'm the one that really wants to talk about this song. I really enjoyed the song itself. out of the 6-7 songs Gio presented us, it's probably my favorite song from all of them. Mainly because, how do I put this? Man, I really don't know what's the way to put this. Like, I enjoy the different tones and like vocal pitches in it, you know?
Oh, dude, that drop when Felix starts singing.
Yeah, like,
dude,
like when
that's insane.
Felix is singing in his deep voice, and then you also get I forget the other guy's name. I literally watched the lyric video so I can specifically tell you who's speaking what part. But when they start speaking like in a higher pitch, coming right after Felix's deep pitch, I really enjoyed that part of the song. And
yeah,
I don't know, I really liked the song. I can't say I liked the music video as much as I liked the song. But
hot take.
It's still kind of interesting because I still liked a lot of the editing. Like the part with the drill. I really liked the drill part because like a lot of other music videos, if they did that, you know, where he like drills right into the screen and it cracks, a lot of people could have done that and it wouldn't have looked as good. But they found a way, I guess, likely due to the budget they had for this video. It was really like clean in a sense. And like the transition straight from that into the choreography dancing was like really good in my mind. I don't know how you all feel.
Personally, I disliked the drill part. It was cheesy. It was horribly cheesy. I hate when they do a meta type of thing. In other words, breaking the fourth wall. Like, why, Jack? Tell me, why does that part, especially aside from, actually not aside from the drill bit, I think that was just cheesy. Like, why include that? What to what point I was breaking the glass? Wow, look at me, my glass is broken because he drilled to it.
Dominic wants to get us cancelled on Twitter.
I'm telling you right now, I'm paying attention to like as we're speaking. I could tell you this is gonna match up with the video I did for the sports one, where I'm gonna have to include multiple clips from this on TikTok. Yeah. I'm gonna have
not clips, because don't do clips. Do like screenshots, because I think clips will get you copyrighted. Anyways, what I really like
the clips about speaking.
Mm-hmm. What I liked about that specific thing, the thing we're talking about, what's it called?
The drill.
The drill is. It matches so well with the song, because at that point it's rapping and then it kind of like stops into the bird chirp, and then he does the thing, and then as that's happening, you kind of like rev up to the drop where Felix starts singing. I don't know, it just kind of like adds to the music video. Sure, I guess it could be cheesy. I don't know how it could be cheesy because I just don't understand that, Dominic. But like, I don't know. It's just like how, like, in all of the best, like in the ways that you could have described that, he chose to say cheesy, and I just don't see how that's cheesy, dude. It's I don't know. Anyway, it's not cheesy.
Okay.
I could understand if he called if you go to like I think it's like the 1:40 mark, where they start doing like the effects of like the fire and all that. You know, like how you know how like on like TikTok and stuff, you've seen like those people where it's like when they're doing the dances, like people will edit it where like the light comes off of their hands, you know, and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Or like it goes along with their body movement, you know, like it's something similar to that with the flames and stuff. I could understand maybe if he called that cheesy, because even though it still looks kind of good, it's not as well edited as the drill part was. But I'm kind of siding with Gio here, Dom. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if cheesy is the right word to use.
Yeah, he's been working with too much pizza, man. It's not cheesy. The other part that I really... Well, Jack, you should say like what else you enjoyed about that music video. Or Dominic, too. And then I'll just kind of share my thoughts.
I will say, like, because, you know, I brought it up how I said I didn't like the music video as much as the song. This kind of goes back to my point where I was asking Dom, I guess I didn't enjoy it as much as I liked the song itself, because the music video they presented wasn't exactly what I pictured in my mind when I first heard the song. Like, when I was hearing the song, I don't know if I could have imagined a lot of the scenes in this music video compared to what, like, I was kind of, like, thinking as I was hearing it. Because, like,
Yeah.
I found myself later listening to the song on its own, and I was like, what was coming to mind wasn't really much of what was, like, in this video. But that's because it has a more, like, obviously, like, I don't know, like, I wrote it down as a note that, like, K-pop itself, it, like, in itself has, like, a loud sound to it, but this one is, like, when it comes to Stray Kids specifically, they have a loud sound to them. And so, like, because of that, I could imagine it going with the dances they're doing, but not really the other settings of it. And I just want to mention to kind of further add to the whole thing of Dom and the drill. I like how at the ending you think it's gonna happen again when the guy comes in with the drill, and then it just transitions into the fact that he's hanging something up on a wall. I thought that was pretty funny. To, like, it was like you thought it was gonna happen again, but then, like, it kind of plays into the very beginning of the video where they were in that, like, diner, I guess you could say.
Yeah, like the message of Maniac is, if you look at the lyrics, and this goes back to having to look at the lyrics to kind of understand more of what's going on. The message of Maniac is basically saying that everyone has, like, a dark side to them. So I don't know, it makes sense. Like, once you know that, like, the video makes more sense because it's kind of like ordinary people, and kind of like letting that maniac inside of you free. So it's kind of like, that's the message of Maniac, and hopefully that kind of, like, clarifies it a bit more why they chose certain shots in the music video for you, Jack. Dominic, what else did you find cheesy about this?
As much as you guys like the transition to the deep voice when it says Maniac, yeah, that was a
Dude, no way.
it was a bit of a no. Just like
Dom, just tell me
it's
what
like
at least, like,
when they go into the deep voice thing, I just immediately just get, like, PTSD to TikTok saying, "Oh, I have a low voice," and they, my Discord kid, like it was. I just hearing that
thinking of Corpse
immediately
Husband.
go to that.
Dude, you're, like, being influenced by stuff that shouldn't be influencing
Bro
you.
started thinking about Corpse and his fan base, dude.
Dude, that's like such a weird connection between this and, like, TikTok trends, dude.
That's
really?
what encourages it. That's literally what encourages it. These sort of people that dress like this sort of way make those types of voices on TikTok with their egotistical backgrounds, I guess, and they think they're better because they dress like this. They make this sort of voice with the with that low tone, like tiger sort of voice. That's literally how it is when it turns to Maniac. And what's even funnier is that looking at the video now, I see the most replayed part of the video is the exact moment at 56 seconds.
It's the drill.
56 seconds when he does the Maniac thing, because that's what everybody goes back forward to, because that's
because it's so unexpected. You're listening to the first 55 seconds of the song. It's rapping, and then it's the dude singing, and they're like
and they're all higher pitched.
The tone is, like, high, right? And then you sound like, oh, what's going on at 56 seconds? You hear the drill, you hear the bird, and then
right
boom, drop into Felix's deep ass voice. How can you not like that? I guess, like, the TikTok trend is one thing, but not liking this is honestly very shocking to me.
The beat drop with the with the vocal drop, come on, man.
Dude, if you listen to this part, like, next time that you open up the shop by yourself and you have that speaker, put it on high, put this song on, and if you still feel the same way about it, I don't know. There's no saving it. There's no saving it, because if you play this part on a speaker, you literally get goosebumps because of how, like, insane it is. Like, I don't know.
And with that being said, I've been your host, Jack, joined by my fellow co-host,
Giovanni, and This is the cheesy Dominic person. I don't know.
Thank y'all for joining us for another episode of Season 3 of the Rule 34 podcast. We'll catch y'all Monday.